My name is Dale. I work for Engineered Air. I'm the plant technical supervisor. Today we're going to be looking at the DJM-3. The DJM-3 controller is for use on the Engineered Air DJ series style of heat exchangers. The DJM-3 controller modulates the combustion air in the electromechanical valve without the use of any mechanical linkages. In this video, we'll be explaining the basic operation of the DJM-3. This will include external control wiring, temperature control, control board LED diagnostics, and burner operation. Let's begin by examining the left side control connections. The CFR terminal is the common power supply to control the flame relay. The SA terminal outputs power to the supply air fan contactor. C terminal is the common power supply feeding these two. The AL terminal is the alarm output relay contact. FR outputs to the flame relay. DM1 and DM2 close to enable the damper motor. N is our neutral connection from the 24-volt supply. HS is the heat switch to allow the heat to operate. K enables night mode. FS is the fan switch to enable operation. T1 and T2 are the 24-volt supply power to the board. So now we'll be examining the external controls, right side. The MQ, S, and U terminals, which are used to connect the discharge air sensor and the optional remote set point if requested for customer convenience. The V, X, Y, and Z terminals are used for room override option that utilizes the Johnson Controls TE6100 960 controller and the OR reset terminal to maximum allowable discharge temperature when activated. The plus and minus terminals are 0 to 10 volts DC or 4 to 20 milliamp inputs from an external temperature controller. The SP terminal is used for onboard set point operation, is jumpered to the S terminal when utilized. Now let's move to the external control connections on the top of the board. The CB1 and CB2 terminals would start the combustion blower for pre-purge speed, ignition, and burner modulation. The PV1 and PV2 terminals are to disable the pilot valve after the main burner has lit. Note the pilot valve is an interrupted pilot during burner operation. The VFB and the VN terminals are wired to the main gas valve, either 24 volt or 120 volt, to confirm valve feedback. The MX1 and the MX2 terminals are for the modulating gas valve output to the Maxitrol gas valve. The GS, YS, and OS terminals are used for the Hall effect speed sensor circuit. The VS and CS terminals are for future use, not in use at this time. The dip switches provided on the board allow the user to activate various reset configurations, initiate the service mode for combustion setup, and the maintain mode for combustion fan, and provide low-limit protection on the discharge air to the space. The calibration potentiometers on the DJM-3 board are used for initial setup and should not be adjusted unless you are familiar with their operation. The set point knob on the face of the DJM-3 is for local control set point. Finally, the set point and discharge temperature from the voltage on the readout pins. The status light information grid allows the service technician to identify the current state of the DJM-3's operation. The 4 status lights have different meanings based on their rate of flash: on, 2-second flash, 1-second flash, or intermittent flash. Now let's move on to the modes of operation. The DJM-3 has 2 distinct modes of operation, one with a heat call and one without a heat call. First, no heat call. Power on to the T1 and T2 terminals for the DJM-3 board with the FS terminal powered will allow the damper motor to open on damper terminals DM1 and DM2. with a 60-second delay to start the supply blower. Second, heat call. With the power on at T1 and T2, and there is a heat call in the first 30 seconds, the pre-purge starts, the dampers open, and the burner will sequence on in 82 seconds. The supply air blower will start and run in 147 seconds. Now let's go through the DJM-3 sequence of operation. Light 1 will start to do a 2-second flash, indicating the 7-minute low-limit bypass timer is activated. DM1 and DM2 contacts will close to open the dampers if equipped. After about 30 seconds, the C to SA contact will close to start the supply air blower. After the low-limit bypass cycle is complete, light 1 will go off. If there is a call for heat from the discharge air sensor, the number 3 light will be on for heat call. Light number 2 will come on steady, indicating pre-purge mode, and combustion air blower will run at full speed. After 45 seconds, light 2 will go off, and combustion air blower will go to light off speed. Light number 4 will come on steady, indicating ignition enable. Burner is on. What do various flashes of lights mean? Number 1 light, on steady. The unit has had a low-limit failure, meaning the discharge air was below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, or 4.4 degrees Celsius, and is locked off. To reset, turn the service switch in the unit control panel off and then back on. 2-second flash. Unit is in low-limit bypass mode. This will be on for about 7 minutes when unit is first turned on. 1-second flash. Indicates the discharge air sensor circuit is open. Disconnect the discharge air sensor from the board and ohm it out. Compare the reading to the sensor resistance chart in the DJM-3 manual. Replace sensor. Number 2 light, on steady. This is on in pre-purge mode when heat call is established. 2-second flash. This will happen when there is a pre-purge problem. See diagnostic chart in the DJM-3 manual to troubleshoot. Number 3 light, on steady. This is on when there is a heat call by the discharge air sensor. If equipped with a heat switch, remote or unit mounted, this switch must be closed to give 24 volts AC across terminals HS and N of the controller. 2-second flash. This will happen when there is no 24 volts AC between terminals HS and N. The heat switch will be open. Intermittent flash. This indicates the controller is in service mode by having dip switch 5 on. Number 4 light, on steady. This is on when the ignition is enabled. 1-second flash. This will happen when there is a flame failure. To reset, turn the service switch in the unit control panel off and back on.